So I just got done watching the Ludwig Borga episode of Darkside of the Ring. And first off, I'm going to start off with what I thought about him before going into the episode. I kind of wanted to watch this to learn a little bit more about the guy clearly and to get some closure about what happened and why he even disappeared from the WWF at the time. And I'm gonna start off by saying the episode was hard to finish, bro. About 25-30 minutes in, I was almost over it. You know what I'm saying? But I was committed to watching the episode so that I can make this video and give you all my full thoughts about it. I used to laugh and compare Ludwig Borga to Brock Lesnar. I used to say he was Brock before Brock because honestly the only similarities that they had was the buzz cut, you know? Maybe that's about it. And after watching the episode, even that wasn't like Brock, you know? I felt like they looked alike and they kind of carried the same type of personalities, but it would do Brock a huge disservice to even compare him to Ludwig Borga at all. You know what I'm saying? He had a run in WWE as a foreign heel, and I remember at the time watching him as a kid. He was believable. You know what I'm saying? He represented Finland. He had the accent, and his personality just wasn't there. He seemed like an asshole in real life. You know what I'm saying? I remember thinking that, like, he seemed like he was really stiff with all the wrestlers, like the clotheslines and shit, the punches that he used to throw. He just looked like people didn't enjoy working with him. So it's kind of funny to find out that that was really the case. One thing I didn't know is that this dude admired Hitler, that he had an SS tattoo on his calf. I didn't know about none of that shit, but it made sense. I mean, it fit his personality, so I wasn't too shocked. I just didn't think he got down like that. As they were, showing old pictures of him with his wife and shit like that, that was the first time I ever seen a smile on that motherfucker's face. Ever. He seemed like a really dull, bland human being that just didn't find enjoyment in anything he took part of. You know what I'm saying? Even, I guess, beating people up. He just gave off this vibe that he was a piece of shit, man. Another thing I want to point out is I didn't realize how iconic Gold's Gym in Venice is. I worked across the street from that very location for years, and I used to see people pull up and I would think, oh damn, of course Arnold Schwarzenegger was there like every morning at the time I was working there, which was like 2012, from 2012 to like 2017. So Arnold, he'd be riding his bike around the block, but it was always to go get that workout in at Gold's. I've seen John Cena walking in the Gold's before. I've seen Magic Johnson coming out of Gold's. So I knew it was a popular spot, but I guess it wasn't until it was mentioned in this episode where I was like, damn, so this spot has really been the spot for decades, you know what I'm saying? Because at some point, Ludwig took his punk ass there to get some workouts in too and then find his way. And now I know y'all probably thinking like, damn, you really calling them names and taking jabs at them and shit? Yes I am. Ludwig Borga was a fucking piece of shit, bro. And when I was watching this episode of him, them covering his beliefs and seeing old interview clips of the shit he used to say, man, fuck that dude, man. Fuck him. Ludwig Borga, I know for a fact how he thought about me. You know what I'm saying? And he seemed like he was extremely racist, not to just black people, but to everybody, bro. It seemed like he didn't like anybody. But the way he would just openly use slurs and shit like that to describe people, yo, what a piece of shit, man. What a piece of shit. So yeah, at some point, they revealed that he was a Nazi at heart. I don't think that was hard to figure out when we saw the tattoo. So anyway, he ended up getting injured in a match on WWF, and he ended up getting released. After getting released, he decided to go to another organization. I'm thinking they're going to mention WCW. No, this dude goes to UFC. So now I'm thinking, now I got to compare him to Brock again just because he even tried to step his foot in the UFC. And yes, I know this is long before Brock even came about. This is just the similarities that I'm putting together because I've always had these similarities of the two until today. But another reason why you still can't compare Brock to Ludwig is because Ludwig lost his first match in a minute. He tapped out to a chokehold, and after that, he never even gave it another shot. He quit, bro. He couldn't handle it, and he quit. He left UFC altogether after that. So based off of these other notes that I have, it seems like after they kept shining light on how racist he was, that's all my notes consisted of, is how racist he is or was. You know what I'm saying? At some point, he got into office as a parliament, and he was still elected, even though he was using slurs in interviews leading up to the election. Like his campaign, I guess he was, getting pops. He was getting pops at using slurs and describing people a certain way. I'm pretty sure it sounds familiar to y'all today. But, I guess once he was getting good reactions from that, he decided to run with it and carry on that persona throughout his campaign, and it got him elected. So I'll let you know right now, just off of the fact that he got elected after saying all the shit he was saying in interviews and shit like that, I'll never visit Finland, bro. I'm sorry. It's never happening, because there's a lot of people out there that feel that way if he was able to get elected. And even though that was back then, nah, I'm cool, bro. I'm cool on Finland. So anyway, we're not going to spend much more time on this. Let's get to how it all ended for him. He was married. He got into a pretty heated argument. This is long after he fell off of everything. And him and his wife got into a tussle. He had a gun in possession, and he had like a fruit bowl full of pills. You know what I'm saying? And as it got heated, this guy picks up a handful of pills and swallows them, Then he picks up the gun, and I don't know, I think he was about to shoot himself, of course, but his wife tried to intervene, and they tussled over the gun, and from what Jericho said, the gun went off. Nobody knows if she pulled the trigger or if he pulled the trigger, but no one was injured. She exited the room, and when she came back, she saw him on the ground, and he slipped into a coma from all those pills that he swallowed. And that wasn't it. He didn't die there, He fought for recovery. He dealt with a lot of brain damage to where he couldn't really speak well. He was only able to say one or two words at a time. And then somewhere later down the line, he was still able to bounce back and walk around and shit. And I guess a friend of his, or whoever the dude was talking, that was talking at the end, ended up finding him slumped over, thinking he was just casually relaxing, but he had already shot himself. So that was the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, of course I didn't know Ludwig Borga personally, but I can say I could have went without watching this episode. I only committed to it because I wanted to know a little bit more about the guy, and I just didn't think it was going to go the way it went. But Ludwig Borga was a complete racist piece of shit, and he never should have got a chance in WWE. Never. If you think we feel the way we feel about Hogan, bro, Ludwig Borga was like a Bowser level Hogan. Goodness, bro. I was getting infuriated just hearing some of the shit that was being said, just seeing the old clips, bro. I would not recommend you to watch this episode. It's only going to make you more upset that you even acknowledged him as a wrestler, bro. Straight up. So, yeah, it wasn't a good watch. I didn't enjoy it. And Ludwig is a bigger piece of shit than I ever thought he was. that's how I'm going to end it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to give it a like and subscribe to the channel so that I could do more of these, because I'm going to definitely do some more of these. There we go, man. Y'all take it easy.